Venus retrograde. To find out if you have your Venus retrograde, go to my website astrolada.com, to my birth chart calculator, enter your place and year of birth. You don't need to have the time of birth. It doesn't change things, so it's enough to know the day of your birth and the year. And you can enter any time you want, or the exact, it doesn't matter. And once you get the table which appears of your birth chart, I want you to go and see if Venus, it's written with the letters VE. VE, if you see it with the letter R, with a big capital R next to it, which means retrograde, so it will be like VER written. If you have this, then when you were born from Earth, it looked as if Venus was moving backwards on the sky. But it's actually an optical illusion. It's not really this what is happening. What is happening is, I will explain to you now, is that when Venus is retrograde, imagine this is the sun in our solar system. Imagine this is the green planet, the blue planet, Earth. And this is Venus, red planet of love, And when Venus is moving direct, it means that Venus is on the other side of the sun and the Earth is here. So Venus's rays first pass through the sun and then get to the Earth. So its influences gets kind of weakened a bit, So it gets purified somehow. The sun allows only the higher vibrations of Venus to get to the Earth, not the lower, stronger vibrations. And this is when Venus is direct. But when the Venus is retrograde, Venus has made a circle around the sun and has come between the sun and the Earth. And when she's between the sun and the Earth, the sun no longer is in the way of Venus's rays getting to the Earth. So Venus directly influences the Earth and humans and life on it the strongest. So such people who have their Venus retrograde much more stronger influence of Venusian qualities in their life. For such people, the Venus themes, which is love, relationships, will be much more important than for other people. Quite intense. For such people, it will be so important to be in a good relationship. It will be in harmonious relationship. They can have more interest in relationship than other times, in keeping harmony, in diplomacy, in making Venus is the planet of beauty, and keeping harmonious environment around of them, in beautifying things, in making those things look better. Venus will, coming straight to the Earth, its influences being retrograde, it creates much more artistic people who have a need of beauty. They desire it. The amount of Venus energy increases. The amount that the person is bombarded with and it has in their life, it's increased. And Venus, because the sun doesn't filter the more rougher energies of Venus, Venus can put much more the higher and the lower vibrations of Venus come to the Earth. And the more lower vibrations of Venus are the ones of more physical pleasures, more affectionate. So such people can be a bit overly affectionate, not affectionate, but a bit overly sensual, desiring physical pleasures, desiring too much comfort and pleasures in life and easy things, So these Venusian qualities will be a bit overexpressed or much stronger than in people with Venus direct, Venus moving directly rather than Venus retrograde. And these are the more physical, sensual energies of Venus, so need for physical love, for physical touch, for affection, for good food, for good wine, for joys and comforts of life, and they'd like to please themselves more, And at the same time, though, as I said, more people with Venus retrograde are more artistic, more creative. They need more beauty and harmony in their life. Relationships are very important for them. They can become very good relationship counselors. They can become very good artists. But actually, it's not necessary that they're very good because the quantity of Venus energy in your life increases, but it doesn't mean the quality of Venus energy increases. For instance, if Venus in your horoscope is in a difficult sign, Venus doesn't like being in Virgo, for instance. Venus doesn't feel very comfortable also in Leo, Cancer so much, or it doesn't feel so comfortable in the signs of Mars, which are Scorpio and Aries, It's a bit too lurid and a bit too masculine there. You can see, obviously, a bit too, in your face. So Venus, its sense of beauty, because Venus is the sense of beauty in signs where it doesn't like, and for instance, when Venus feels, like those signs that I mentioned, especially in Virgo, Venus feels more difficult there. They might the quality of their sense of beauty and their sense of and their relationships that they attract might not be so good, might not be, they might be more difficult, such, they might be, their sense of beauty might be a bit quirky or unusual, or it can be a bit more uh, in your face, or it can be a bit more, it's not like the classical beauty that everyone would agree this is beautiful, but of course it can make some artistic geniuses if they have their Venus retrograde in a sign where Venus is feeling, the quality of Venus is kind of distorted. So because they can come with very original, unusual ideas, so they can come with something grotesque, someone who clashes colors when they dress, someone who goes for a bit quirky relationships or relationships that tend to hurt them, but these themes will be very important in their life because Venus is retrograde. So beauty, harmony, whether it's twisted beauty and harmony, it doesn't matter. The quality can be poor, but the desire for this and the focus in their life will be much stronger. Of course, it's most preferable to have Venus retrograde when it's in Pisces, when it's in Libra, in Taurus, when it's in the signs of Capricorn, Aquarius, the signs of Saturn, Aquarius, or Capricorn, because these are the signs Venus feels much more comfortable with, and it expresses its natural Venusian qualities in a more natural way. So their sense of beauty will be such that that most people will not feel offended by, but more classical, more gentle, but at the same time they'll be very strong. So these people can have beautiful artistic quality, beautiful relationships that are very important. They'll express them more in a harmonizing way. They can be great relationship counselors, I say. They can be great uh, fashion designers, beauticians, makeup artists. One of my best friends has Venus retrograde in Aries. Venus doesn't feel so happy in Aries, but she's amazing. She makes a bit more in-your-face makeup, empowering, and she's made a big name over for a year. She became world known because Venus retro, and because she's always been interested in fashion, in jewelry, in anything which is about adornment, beautifying, all these Venusian things, in relationships, of course. She and such people with very strong Venusian type of qualities, extremely powerful in their life themes of relationship. As I said, everything. I hope I don't keep repeating myself too much. So it's not a bad thing. A lot of people say, "Oh, I'm born with Venus retrograde. I'll never have happy relationships." So it's just the opposite. Especially Venus has good aspects. Sometimes Venus can be in a bad sign, for instance, where it doesn't feel so happy, like in Virgo, but if Venus has good aspects, say a trine from Jupiter, a sextile from Mars, and it's some planets, the good aspects. You need to know a bit more astrology to understand that. But if Venus has more good aspects than negative, then the qualities the person can have just as good relationships and just as happy experiences with Venus, things like pleasure, like fun, and they'll be very omnipresent in this person's life, very much of a forefront and focus in his mind. Pleasurable activities, beauty, harmony, relationships, having fun, balancing things, harmonizing things. Retrograde Venus, it's actually a great bonus. It's quite, for most people, say 80% of retrograde Venus will be a great thing to have. And actually, if you go and have your hair cut during a Venus retrograde, it can be quite, you can have one of the best hairstyles, because the hairdressers are much more inspired during this period because Venus is closer to the earth then, so they can have much more positive expression of Venusian qualities in them. But of course, it very much depends if your Venus in your horoscope is good enough, because if you naturally have a bad Venus, usually you'll be getting bad haircuts, and usually you'll not feel beautiful, or if you have a more difficult Venus. So anyway, if you see a Venus retrograde in a horoscope, people will be more artistic, more sensual, more desire for relationship, And this can be extremely positive, especially if Venus has good aspects or is in good signs. If it's not in good signs, then some of the more Twisted expression of Venus can come to the forefront of its taste, of beauty, of relationship, of choices you make in your life. Venus helps you make choices. But still the themes will be extremely strong in the person's life. Thank you.